just starting to work with Belle here, and we're trying to teach her kind of the tricks of the trade of what we want her to do to milk her. This is, you saw her have her first calf. She's brand new at this milking. We've only been, milking her for a week or so. It's brand new to her, it's brand new to us. But I just wanted to do a little video on Belle's story and how we got her and why we have her. And then a little bit on maybe if you're thinking about getting a milk cow, some things to think about that way. Okay, so I just want to point out a few things that I'm doing when I'm milking her. Here I just have hot soapy water. We used one towel the very first time to get all just the debris off, and then we expressed milk from each one with some iodine now. And now we're just gonna be careful to wipe each teat really clean with the one, making sure that we get each teat really clean. And with a new part, each teat gets a new fresh part of the towel here, and then the towel goes directly into the wash. So we just kind of, our family's big enough, we're kind of doing a load every day anyway, so it's not a big deal. So that's where we're at here, getting ready to milk. So we got Belle from a neighbor, and they had her for a they had gotten her for a 4-H project, and then the kids that were doing 4-H, they kind of didn't want to do it, didn't want to take time with her anymore, and so she had not had a calf yet when we got her. Also, she had she was not bred when we got her. She'd never been milked. I think she was halter broke somewhat because she did respond to a halter when we were finally able to get to her. But she was, the first time we tried to load her, it was a rodeo. So, I mean, it wasn't just easy peasy. So, we had her for, 6 months. And during that time, we had her bred to an Angus bull. We brought her into our barnyard and worked with her almost every day so that she would get used to us, so that we could walk right up to her. Now, we do fight her a little bit with that halter to move her exactly where we want her and some of those things. But for the most part, she is easy to handle, and we are so thankful. So being a first-time cow owner for milk, we didn't know what we were getting into really at all. So another thing is, you just think you're gonna come in and milk, and you're gonna put your hand around, and have nice sized teats to milk. Well, Belle had pretty small teat, so because we're doing it we have one milk cow, so we're not really that interested in getting a big milking machine. So we're just gonna use a stainless steel bucket like what we have here, and we're just gonna do it by hand. It doesn't take very long at all. But what we did realize that we didn't know about her is she has fairly small teats, and that makes it more difficult for sure. I mean, that makes it more difficult. You can't just wrap your hand around her. And what you end up doing is milking with your 3 fingers here. And that, you have to build up those muscles to milk her and to do it right. So those are some things that I just don't know that you can properly plan with a brand new milk cow who's not milked before. So if you're thinking about buying a milk cow that's never milked, you can't just look at her udder and go, oh, that's a perfect udder, she's gonna have great everything. You don't really know that until after she has that calf and some of those things happen. You're not gonna know how that udder is completely until after she has that calf. And of course, that's a really big part of milking, specifically when you're milking and you're doing it all by hand. Another thing is, are you gonna pay the money to get a milking machine, or are you going to do it by hand? If you're going to go ahead and buy the milking machine, then maybe it doesn't matter as much. But what we've decided is that we can just do it by hand within 15 minutes and have her milked out and back with the calf, because we're doing a calf share deal. And it's just really not that big of a deal. So for us, it just makes a lot more sense to go ahead and do this all by hand. So another thing is, we decided on a Jersey cow. Now Jersey cows, more than not, from what we understand, have A2 milk. But that's not exactly true in all cases, 100%. You can pull a hair follicle off of her tail, a tail hair, and you can verify that, have it tested, which I think we are going to do, to verify that that milk is in fact A2, which is the more digestible cow milk that you can buy, unlike maybe a Holstein or some of those others that wouldn't generally have an A2 milk in them. A nice thing about a Jersey cow is that they are really good grazers, and they do really well not having to be fed anything extra. I mean, she does great on our grass out here. We have plenty of grazing for her to do, and she really flourishes in that. And she's just a really nice, well-mannered cow. She'll just stand here. In fact, for the first week of milking, or not week, I guess, maybe the first 4 days or so of milking, I just did her out in the pasture. And I milked her out there, and it was no problem whatsoever. So we recommend, that if you're going to get a milking cow, a Jersey or a smaller heritage breed is definitely something to think about. The Jersey's a lot smaller cow than maybe a brown Swiss or a Holstein or some of those types. So that's just something to keep in mind as you think about getting your milk cow. So if you've been watching our channel at all, you know that we've also had milking goats, and just some complications that happened there. We were needing to not milk those goats right now, but we are very interested in doing the goat milking, and that is just an excellent form of milk, and they're so easy to handle. And if you get a standard sized Nubian goat, they give you a lot of milk, and it's really good milk. We just loved it, and it's just so quick to milk them. They easily train to just get right up on that milking stand. It's no big deal at all. And with a cow is great too, because you do get a lot of milk, but you have to deal with the size of your cow. I don't care if you're dealing with a small heritage breed like Belle, or if you're dealing with a full-fledged Holstein big cow. You're going to have to basically teach that cow the milking manners and where you want it to stand and how you want it to stand and what you want it to do when. And there's just a lot more bulk there, and there's a lot more potential, really, of things going wrong, I think. And so that's really something to think about. Now, the other thing is, Belle has become such a great pet, and we just love her, and we spend a lot of time with her, that it's just great, so it can really work out well. But that's something to think about. There's a big difference in size, and no matter what, goats are just much more manageable animals. And another thing to think about with a cow is a cow eats like a cow. So they eat a lot of food, even if they're small. And so, we've done things like our mineral program, where we have our mineral feeder with, I think, 18 different mixes in it that Belle can choose from to help her to be able to get those minerals and not have to overeat. I think they can overeat by 40 or 50% if they're not having the right mineral program either. And another thing with a cow is, you know, we just had that calf about 2.5 weeks ago or so, and already here in July we're gonna have to get Belle rebred if we want to keep this milking thing going. So that's something to think about too. You've got to keep that program going of keeping them bred and just staying on top of all those dates of what needs to happen when. And with a goat, you know, you have to obviously breed them as well, but it's just not as hard as bringing a bull on the property or trying to AI or whatever, you know. So you can just get that billy or whatever it takes for those goats, and not a big deal. So in the barn, another thing that we are going to try to always milk her in the barn now. Like I said, we have milked her out in the pasture, but really, for all intents and purposes, with a milk cow, you want to try to do the same thing every day to keep her. You want to try to keep it at the same time every day if you're going to do it every day. So time and just the regiment of what you're doing. So that when I come out of the house with all my supplies, I put them in the barn here. I open up the door and I yell, "Hey Belle, hey Belle," and I have her look at me, and then I go over and put the halter on her, bring her in the barn, and then put her in her head gate here, and then I give her a little bit of a treat in the pan in front of her. Another thing we have is we have her stepping on this rubber mat right here. It is a 3/4 inch rubber mat, and the key to that is it's comfortable for her, but also if she decides to move this hoof here and try to kick dirt up for flies or whatever it might be on her at the time, she's not going to kick up dirt into my milk, into the milk bucket. And also I'm putting my milk bucket on this. And with milking, you know, we just try so hard that everything we do, we keep it just as clean as we possibly can. So that's the mat, and that's how we bring her into the barn here. So that's a little bit on Belle and her story here on 20 Acre Farms. She provides the milk and the cheese and the yogurt and those things, and it's great to have her. But hopefully I gave you a few pointers or just a few things to think about on, do you really want a milk cow, or are milking goats good for what you're doing? And so just some things to think about there, and just introduce you a little bit to our barn setup and what we're doing here.